that we haven't talked about yet, one that has been prominent so far, anyone that's been able to hear this crowd behind us, is that when Rafa's playing, this audience has a clear favorite. And that is something that some players are able to block that out, some players not so much.
Speed, he wants to play quickly, but also being a heavier champion, it means Rafa can take the entire map away. He has a bigger armor pool to play those lights as well, and as we saw on that map there, he was able to just suffocate his opponent. And if you can cycle Corrupted Keep, if you can take away the mages and the lights, it will leave Razy no room to breathe, and we know Rafa is capable of that. And the Sorlag with the speed, that stack, she can do that, and also the acid spit as well, as we know on this map in particular. Her area denial is critical. So there's a lot of good utility to it, inclusive of that denial pick as well.
Wonderful to see. I would say innovation, you know, picking Sorlag isn't particularly innovative, but it's just using her in a situation where she's not very common. Nowhere near as common as she once was many years ago. Do you remember the very first QuakeCon for Quake Champions?
Yeah, but that was all the wiggle movement back then.
Yeah, the wiggle movement. Clutch didn't have his air dash.
Oh,
we stood perfectly still. We took reduced damage, and basically everyone and their partner played Sorlag in their duel teams. But here we go. Coming full circle years and years later, and rest assured folks, there was a quick break there. I believe it was a tech thing. Once we're back in now, we are loading up into Corrupted Keep, so not long this second map is going to be up and running, and we're going to see if Sorlag has what it takes to crush the Strog.
We haven't seen a lot of Sorlag on LAN, and when I've been speaking to some of the pros, it's partly because she's punishable. You know, you hit a lot harder on LAN, the LG's connecting better, the rockets are good, and so that might be an area that Razy can capitalize on. We know how good he's aiming as well, and one of the downsides of Rafa's greatest strength in dominance is that he can sometimes overcommit. He just wants to take the item so badly, he will throw his body at the wall. And if Razy can hold strong and not be knocked down, he can rack up a few of these frags. And we have seen it before where Rafa's scoreline, particularly on even this map, can go out of control very quickly. Now there's a lot of ifs and buts in that statement, and there is a small chance it's going to happen, but it's still possible.
Well, we are underway, and Rafa gets the armor spawn. So that is one chunky Sorlag right there. Opening things with some rocket spam, a super shotgun to push in, a defensive Pika already used. And I kind of like that play. Look at how much damage Rafa just took at the drop of a hat. Razy was able to secure that mega, but at the same time, undid so much of that stack that Rafa was working on.
Yeah, a small illustration of what we were talking about, given her size, and so Rafa will need to be careful. It's not just the LG, obviously, that we are considering when we come to that. It's always going to be that entryway, the additional spam, and the heavy machine gun, which can just melt the heavy champions on this map. So Razy has to capitalize upon the one drawback that Sorlag has, which is pure size.
But in this case, Rafa dropping in and out of these rooms at the moment and not overextending, having no choice but to really push in there towards Red Room or the exit. Taking a lot of damage and exiting this to focus on heavy will be a risk.
Sure.
Razy really showing us what his priority is going to be from the item front. In this case, it would be heavy.
Yeah, and the items are on exactly the same time, so we're not in the same situation as we saw last map where there was that early control from Rafa and Razy couldn't break that. Completely different circumstances. You also said, Catch Up, this is Rafa's map pick, which it is, but it used to be called Razy's Keep, as we know, and he's going to show us here why that is the case. Huge LG coming out from Razy, and he's in the lead for the first time in this series.
Now Rafa's going to push forward though and say, I have something to say about that, my friend. I've got a big stack fresh off spawn, and I got a weapon and a dream, and that's now 1-1. Razy spawning near heavy, and there continues to be basically no delay between items.
No, Rafa insulted, and I even dare say Razy took the lead as he claims it back within mere seconds of dying. Like another good strength of these heavy champions is that respawn ability with their big stack. Rafa's in the area as well. He wants to contest, but he will probably double back after doing a little bit more chip damage towards this heavy. Question is anyone going to dare put a delay on these items at the moment? And yes, Rafa, deliberate or not, will be the first to put a bit of separation between them.
Well, here we go. We're just going to quickly drop down, as we do want that super shotgun as well, especially at that point blank. I think nothing ever really does it better, as long as you actually hit that shot. You can see some of those absolutely disastrous misses sometimes, and it's a real heartbreaker. At this point, Rafa, tons and tons of armor. The acid spit is ready to go as well. However, where he is down here lies a choke point that Rafa doesn't want to take a huge risk with. Even that Pika, an impressive amount of damage actually to stop him from advancing.
75 damage out of nowhere. Rafa coming barreling through the doorway, but Razy is ready for it. And you can see here Razy's playing the slow tempo. He's trying to catch Rafa out in the open because that is where she is vulnerable. He definitely doesn't want to push out towards Rafa, and each one of these endeavors, Razy's able to tickle away and beat away at that stack a little bit more. But Rafa equaling that from down below with a tripod as well. Ooh, a little bit of mistake from Razy there. He's got the timing though, and they're going to continue to trade major items. Bang on even.
For another time, Rafa choosing to be a little bit safer. Razy, that Pika was not worth it. That's now 2-1 in what seems to be quite a clumsy use of the ability.
Yeah, not 100% sure on the game plan. It was way out in the open. Nevertheless, it's only 2-1. Cagey game on Corrupted Keep, nearly 4 minutes in hit. Items are still split and they continue to trade for a piece. Razy getting the better of the damage, but Rafa choosing his situations well at the moment too to take that lead, and Razy's going to trap the lizard up above. He falls down with the Pika, the spit comes out. Razy without an LG can't really do too much. He doubles back to get the heavy machine gun, goes onto the spit, but he hasn't got the timing. 15 seconds too early, not sure why you're there, my friend, and he has to skedaddle to try and save his life, and Rafa knows he's on the rope as well. Still no LG, and that's why he's going to keep this pressure on.
And Rafa's placement of that spit was fantastic. You know, one on the teleporter exit, one on the Mega, one just wherever else we can get it before it runs out. But the defensive LG, oh my lord, that hurt. Rafa taking a whole bunch of damage, but thankfully being in red room, tons of chances to bring your stack back up to speed. Good amount of time here, Dan, before our next item. Looks like Rafa hanging around the heavy first, but at this point, are we going to stick around until it spawns? It's looking likely.
I feel that Razy needs to put a bit more emphasis on Rafa's as well, because that is what's keeping him in this game. All the damage coming out from Razy's been caught down below as well. Capping out on that Mega. Rafa comes barreling through on the low ground. Huge amount of damage, and now Rafa is in pole position. Because of that, there's more of a split on the major items as well, and Rafa knows he's got Razy on the ropes. He's going to double back to get that other light. And Razy, look how scared he is. He doesn't want to push on out. He doesn't know where Rafa is. And that just went from an okay situation to a terrible state of affairs.
And with all that damage that's being dished out, Rafa by all means is likely to push in to Mega at this point. The spit is ready. The spit. The LG from Razy. How he found all that damage, Dan, I have no idea.
Yeah, his LG just went from 35 to 50 in a moment, 100% as Rafa comes flying around the corner, and then he just even up these stacks out of nowhere.
Players always have a mental count in their head, right? How much damage am I going to take going into this fight? You cannot factor in taking basically 100% LG. I mean, unbelievable display of defense, and has to have been the one thing that kept him alive. Otherwise, this could have been 3-1 Rafa.
Definitely, and just there, an amazing use of that spit for Aerodonal. You saw Razy making the progression. As soon as the spit comes out, he didn't want to take that fight. There's nowhere in that vicinity to get it off you. It ticks away. So smart play from both of them, and Rafa maintains his lead for now. And look at the stack once again.
An uncharacteristically low-scoring game on Corrupted Keep, historically known as one of the more aggressive snowbally maps, but both players being so careful. Oh, Rafa heard that. Rafa definitely heard that scream from Strog, so even with the items that are going to get picked up, he knows that Razy will be basic stack at best.
The Rafa's reads on Razy at the moment are amazing. He knows how much pressure he wants to put onto that Mega health with the split between the two. He's cut him off 2 times in a row, but can he do it a 3rd time? Rafa's got no life to work with at the moment. 5 seconds of this heavy, and I imagine Razy's going to make a push. Rafa's winging around the map. You can see him pick up 1 light. Got this second now, and Razy, no, he actually decides to slow it down.
There's no rush at this point, and that's something that I'm glad Razy is keeping in his mind. We have 3 minutes left to go, and only 1 frag is needed to compete. And we're getting that 1 frag on a larger champion, a champion with a huge match of damage output thanks to that spit. And I mean, Rafa on the opposite end of the sticks.
And Rafa's now got enough of the stack where he wants to challenge for this heavy. He goes on in, and he's just using it as a bit of a scouting recon mission. And here comes Razy. Now he wants to make a move, but no, Rafa's the one to show us how to LG this time. Bika comes out more as a delay tactic than anything else, but Rafa knows how much work he's done, and he knows exactly where his prey is, out on the balcony, and he's chasing him down as well.
That's so much damage. The horizontal rocket jump misses the opening shotgun though, and that was not what he wanted. Damage over time, the acid misses another shotgun blast. Rafa,
and he ticks down.
Where's the health? There ain't no health down there, Razy. That's got to be rock and a hard place, Dan.
Nothing you can do. You just see your life flash before your eyes. You know what's going to happen, and Razy had 2 minutes this time to claw this one back.
That is a extremely rare circumstance where Sorlag truly puts you in a checkmate. Yeah. Normally there's some kind of escape, but damn it, not there.
No,
Less than 2 minutes on the clock, but some decent rockets. Rafa not expecting Razy to stay up for that long, perhaps. But Razy does secure a frag.
Absolutely fundamental rocket, potentially game-changing rocket, but no, Rafa comes in again. Don't discount how much that little lick of damage just did to stall Razy's progression. He would have challenged that Mega, and now Rafa gets a clean one. I still think Razy needs to find a way to punish these lights. Rafa owns that side of the map, and Razy can't get on in. He's got no rockets either, so he cannot contest the mid-ground. And Rafa knows it. He's come flying on it, but he's been caught this time. He actually hasn't got the timing. This time he's early. He's done a lot of damage himself. He's still got the stack. Razy living on a breath at the moment with 3 HP, and Rafa knows he's got this wrapped if he can just get on in and find him before he picks up a Mega.
How Razy is still alive here is unbelievable.
And
he's kept him going there. The LG.
No, he's going to tick.
Venomous! It's going to be the acid damage over time. Rafa increases the lead by one more. Razy, by all means, can still bring it back and take us into a sudden death, but that fight could have sealed it.
But he's missed out. He got greedy, and he's given up a frag, which will be map 2 to Rafa. And you don't often see how effective the spit can be, but we've seen it multiple times. All right, yeah, Razy unable to keep up the pressure of Rafa.
It's rare that you see a Sorlag on Corrupted Keep, let alone at this level of play, but a clear mission, a response, being able to just match whatever it is. Oh, that's disgusting. I need to look away from that one. I'm going to be sick. That's map 2. Locked and loaded. Rafa is looking pretty untouchable, not just in this series, but right now, all day long.
He is indeed. This is the old champion, Rafa. Talked about it, how he wants the belt again, and this is the best we've seen him for a long, long time, Ketchup.
Almost got totally ambushed going for my water there.
I saw.
I'm thirsty, man. It's hot here. But yeah, really, even just looking at some of these items, it's interesting how when it comes to control, it was the major items that were split down the middle, not the lights. 24 was the final count there for Rafa.
I mean, it's hard. It's a hard ask, but what I would love to have seen Razy done is once he put that pressure on, is actually try and defend the lights, try and get in and pressure him when he's going to restack on those lights. Without that pressure, Sorlag always had that massive stack, that massive armor stack to fall back on, which gave her the confidence to continue to push. And you saw it every time Razy tried to make a maneuver across the map. Because Rafa had the lights, he was able to cut off the Strong. He was able to push on in, do a bit of damage, and get on out. If he didn't have those lights to work with, he wouldn't have that same level of confidence. So it's a really hard ask, right? Rafa had that side of the map on lock, but what would it have been if he did actually manage to try and change that strategy?
If I'm not mistaken, our third map is going to be Molten Falls.
You're correct. Scale Bearer against the Knicks.
Scale Bearer time again. And I'm looking at this on paper. It's so hard not to look at the champion matchup before we even look at the players, because a matchup like this, if Nyx does not have a Ghost Walk, and there is a bad situation, there is a stacked up Scale Bearer in a great opportunity to hit one Bull Rush, one Rocket, whatever the case may be, Razy is just obliterated, you know, and in many of these matches, Scale Bearer can sometimes force Molten to be a relatively low scoring map. You know, it's hard to pin him down. It's hard to finish the job. He's running around every corner. You can hit him with a rail, but before you can land the second, he's right around that corner and he's out of there. It's going to be a stressful third map, I think.
It is indeed, and It's worrying. You have to play to perfection to pull this off. As we saw on the previous map, Rafa with that heavy champion on the ate the map up, had all of the items, had the lights, was able just to continually bully Razy. Completely different map, completely different geometry, different champions, but Razy with that light mix, you can't afford to go that aggressive. He has to play positional and he has to play slow and has to just keep it tight, as you said. That's going to be the key to victory here. He's not going to be able to just outgun and outspeed. That's not what he's wanted to do all series, but it's just another level of patience he's going to have to employ to pull this Molten Falls back and take us towards later maps in this series.
Razy is one of the many players that has expressed just the idea of taking things one map at a time.
Yeah.
So this situation that he finds himself in, I do not think is something that's going to really bother him. You have to focus. This is a demanding matchup above all else too, because you have Rafa with the fundamental control and, well, fundamentals really, if you look at it. And now he's adding a matchup-changing champion to the mix that's going to force weird situations that you need to be ready to react to, whether it's going to be, I don't know, a wall jump over something, a ghost walk that's going to be forced when you don't want to use it. Either way, I do think this favors Rafa on paper.
I agree, and Rafa's shown the form as well to back that up. And what makes Rafa so formidable is he puts you under so much pressure by his aggression, by the way he takes away the map, that you constantly have to be in that mental state of preparation and just, you have to make the right decision in the right moment. He forces you to make an instant decision and gives you absolutely no respite. And most players can't cope with that. And at the moment, Razy is struggling to cope with that. So this is, again, an opportunity for Rafa to just keep that up. He has a champion he can go super aggressive with and force Razy into these instant micro decisions. And if he makes a wrong one, he gets flattened by a bull rush. And you know, then there might be no way to come back.
It's how the game has changed in competitive Quake. The Champions does have certain characters that they, let's be serious, they kind of break the rules of a duel. And I think the original champion that was doing that to people years ago was Clutch in very similar ways, because it was close quarters, in your face, faster than you might expect, and a ability that is almost a I win button in the right parts of the map. Scalebearer really, to me, strikes me as the evolution of that, because in Scalebearer's current form has the highest amount of resilience compared to how much damage he's going to take with that bull rush. And again, if you're in the wrong part and he's in a major item or something, boom,